Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So, fantastic night of football again in the Champions League. Tottenham beating Ajax by 3 goals to 2, and of course finishing 3-3 on aggregate of course over the two legs. But Tottenham of course go through on the away goals, and what a fantastic comeback from Tottenham. You know, it was actually similar to the game yesterday against Liverpool. You know, obviously, Lucas Moura getting a hat-trick for Tottenham, of course, to send them into their first Champions League final. So it is an all-English final. It's Tottenham versus Liverpool, and this is actually going to be the first all-English Champions League final since 2008, because that was actually, Manchester United and Chelsea. So there hasn't been an English final, for about 11 years or something. 10 years there hasn't been an English final, but it's Tottenham and Liverpool in the final. But going into the game, of course, Tottenham were actually 2-0 down in the first half against Ajax. There was initially 1-0 down from the first leg with Tottenham, so potentially they had to overall overcome a 3-goal deficit, and Tottenham did do that. Lucas Moura getting a hat-trick, Dele Alli of course getting two of the assists, and it's good to see an all English final. As I said, it was looking like Ajax were going to do it. Obviously, Lucas Moura, did he score in like the 96 minute of stoppage time or something? I think 5 minutes was initially added on, but I think Lucas Moura had got in the 6 minute of stoppage time. But Tottenham make history in Amsterdam, and that's absolutely fantastic. For Tottenham Hotspur. I'd probably do fancy Liverpool to win the final, to be quite honest with you. But obviously, Liverpool have progressed to the Champions League final for the second time in 2 years. But what an absolutely fantastic comeback by Tottenham Hotspur, because it looked like they were dead and buried, of course, when they were 2-0 down in the first half. I think Mark De Ligt got one of the goals for Ajax. I can't remember who got the second goal, but Pochettino was in disbelief. He couldn't really believe it. But I think this is actually Tottenham's first ever Champions League final. You wouldn't have predicted ever Tottenham Hotspur to get to the Champions League final. But as I did say, it's good that it's all an English final, for the first time since 2008. That was Manchester United and Chelsea. Of course, Manchester United won that game. My club, Manchester United, won that game on penalties, as you all will remember. But yeah, very, very good indeed. And so look, as I did give my reaction on yesterday's game, the Liverpool Barcelona game, and it was really, really good. What Liverpool did, and that was one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the competition, without a shadow of a doubt. Because obviously, Liverpool were 3-0 down from the first leg against Barcelona. But it's just amazing what Liverpool did, and Liverpool didn't even have Salah. Liverpool had Salah out through injury. They had Firmino out through injury. Two of their main players, and Liverpool were fantastic yesterday. I know Barcelona, as I did say, had periods in the game when Liverpool went 1-0 up early on for a regia. Barcelona had their chances in the game, but Allington, made some good, decent saves. But Liverpool were fantastic, yesterday evening against Barcelona. Barcelona's defensively were terrible. They were defending like schoolboys. But Liverpool's goals, obviously, Origi got two of them. Wijnaldum got two of them. Actually, Wijnaldum was the substitute, because obviously, Andrew Robertson went off injured in the game. But yeah, and I thought Alexander-Arnold, played very, very well for Liverpool. I think he contributed to two of the goals as well. But Liverpool was sensational yesterday. But as I did say, reflecting back to the first leg at the new camp, Liverpool were really, really unlucky indeed. Obviously, Naby Keita went off injured in the first leg of that game. But they were unlucky at the Camp Nou. Salah hitting the post. Milner had chances in the game. Mane missed a sitter in the first half of that game. But obviously, Ousmane Dembele missed a fantastic chance for Barcelona right at the end, to make it 4-0. But Liverpool were really, really unlucky in the first leg. But as I did currently say, I probably now fancy Liverpool to win the Champions League. As I said, they've been fantastic at Anfield, and Anfield now is a fortress in the Premier League and in Europe, of course. But as I did say, now obviously, the title race going into the terms of the title race. I think it has gone down to the wire, as we all know. Liverpool got at home to Wolves this weekend. Manchester City go away to Brighton. But I think Manchester City are going to retain the Premier League. And obviously, they'll be the first team, to retain the title since, 2009. And the last team to do it, actually, was my club, Manchester United. But yeah, I think City are going to win the league. And Liverpool, of course, are going to win the Champions League. But obviously, Liverpool were actually unlucky not to win the Champions League last season. Because actually, I think Salah went off injured in that game in last season's final against Real Madrid. But Liverpool were really, really unlucky in that. And Liverpool haven't won the Champions League, of course, since 2005. You all remember that final. Liverpool were 3-0 down in that game. Liverpool were 3-0 down in that game. Liverpool came back against AC Milan. It went to 3-3, and I think it actually went to penalties. But as I did say, what a great night for Tottenham. Of course, they're going to Madrid in the final against Liverpool, and I like to see an all English final because we haven't witnessed one, for a very, very long time. As I said, the last English final, obviously, was Chelsea and Manchester United, of course, back in 2008. But I thought when Ajax were 2-0 up, it was definitely going to be an Ajax and Liverpool final. Ajax, if I was an Ajax supporter, I would be very, very disappointed indeed. Of course, Ajax, got to the Europa League final a couple of seasons ago. Of course, my club Manchester United beat them by 2 goals to 0. So Ajax, will be very, very disappointed. But credit Tottenham Hotspur, of course. Credit Tottenham Hotspur. What they've done. A fantastic achievement tonight for Tottenham. Pochettino was absolutely in disbelief, as I said. But Tottenham have got a pretty decent team. They have got a pretty decent team. Kane will hope he can be available. To play in the final. But I still think Tottenham maybe do need a bit more investment this summer. And looking at Pochettino, he's done a really, really good job with Tottenham. I think I can't remember how much he spent. Has he spent like £200 million or something like that since he got recommended in 2014? And Pochettino's a good manager. I know he hasn't won out in terms of silverware yet, Pochettino, but he's got a great chance of lifting the Champions League, and that will be his first major honour. Pochettino's. But he's done a really, really good job with Tottenham. I think this is now his 5th season with Tottenham. Obviously, he signed a new 5-year contract with Tottenham last summer, but he's done a really, really good job with Tottenham. But they've got a great chance of winning the Champions League, and you never know. Anything could basically happen. But I think Liverpool, in my opinion, are going to have too much for Tottenham. To be quite honest with you. But Liverpool, as I said, they addressed the deficiencies last summer. Virgil van Dijk was a great signing for Liverpool. They paid £75 million for Van Dijk. And they got a good goalkeeper, for Wellington. And he doesn't really leak a lot of goals, Allington. He's really, really good at keeping clean sheets. And Liverpool, have got a pretty decent team. And Liverpool will probably want to, bring a couple of new additions into their team this summer. I know they spent a lot of money last summer, but they'll be looking to bring a couple of more additions into their squad this summer, bolster it up more, because Liverpool, obviously, will want to win that Champions League now, as I said, because I think the title is actually, coming out of their grasp, because I think Manchester City are going to beat Brighton. So I think, Liverpool are probably, going to beat Tottenham in the Champions League final. But it's good to see an all English final, as I said, and that is very, very good indeed. But I think that's one of Tottenham's greatest comebacks. So it's been very, very good to see. We saw it last season. Barcelona was it coming back from 4-0 down against Paris Saint-Germain. We saw it yesterday with Liverpool, 3-0 down for the first leg, overcoming a 3-goal deficit and winning by 4 goals to 3 on aggregate, and winning 4-0 on the night. And we've seen it this season. We've seen it this evening. Tottenham 1-0 down from the first leg, 2-0 down this evening, and coming back to win 3-2 Tottenham Hotspur, and it ending 3-3 on aggregate. But Tottenham, of course, going through on the away goals. And we saw it. We've seen it. We saw it. With Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain. It happened then. Nowhere near to this extent. Nowhere near to this kind of extent. But we did see it in the Manchester United PSG game. Manchester United were 2-0. We were 2-0 down from the first leg game against PSG. We overcome that 2-goal deficit and won 3-1 against Paris Saint-Germain. And Manchester United, of course, had 10 first team players out. But I saw bits of the game, this evening. Tottenham played quite well. I think they hit the post through Human Son. I think they also hit the crossbar. Did Tottenham? Ajax, I think, also hit the post in the game. But Ajax have got a really, really good youth academy. I think they've got one of the best in world football. They've got some good players. They've got that. I think they've got the likes of Dolberg. They've got Frankie de Jong. They've got that delay that's being linked with a move to Manchester United. And Ajax, will feel hard done by. That was it right at the last second of the game, and I had no way in a million years I thought that was going to happen. But it's good to see an all English final, as I said. So that's merely my match reaction on the game this evening. I'm not too sure when the final is. Will it be in Will it be sometime this month or something? The final, I should presume it will be. I will have a look. But this is Tottenham's first ever Champions League final. Liverpool, of course, have won the Champions League 5 times, of course, so they're looking to get their 6th Champions League. Liverpool, but it was good what Liverpool did, coming up against an elite opposition like Barcelona. Of course, Barcelona are the La Liga champions. I think this is now their 8th La Liga in 11 seasons. I think it's their 4th in 5 seasons. Barcelona's and Barcelona, I said they're not the elite level football club as there was 9 or 10 years ago, when they beat my club Manchester United in the 2009 final and the 2011 final. They're not the same, they're not as good as they used to be. They're not on that same kind of level, but they are still arguably, one of the best teams in the world. But Barcelona had their moments in that game yesterday. But Barcelona have got great players. They're a well-established club. Their philosophy is really good. They've got they're one of the richest clubs in the world, and Barcelona have got great players. And Lionel Messi was very quiet yesterday. I know Lionel Messi scored 600 goals for Barcelona in 600 odd appearances. He scored about 26 goals against English teams as Lionel Messi, but he was very quiet yesterday. Was Messi. I think he scored about 40 odd goals in all competitions this season for Barcelona, but I think it's the only team he's been at. Lionel Messi, professionally. It's the only team Lionel Messi has been at, and I think he's won about 30 major honours, for Barcelona. So you've got to admire a player of Lionel Messi's quality. But as I did say on my video yesterday, on my reaction, I said I hate Liverpool, but as I did say, every neutral there, every supporter has got to admire what Liverpool did yesterday, because they were 3-0 down from the first leg against Barcelona, and and it was just unbelievable. It's unbelievable what Tottenham have done this evening. It was unbelievable. What Liverpool did yesterday, and so credit to Liverpool, as I said, and I didn't think they were going to do it either way. Even if Salah had been playing, even if Firmino had been playing, I still think they wouldn't have done it. But they didn't even have Salah and Firmino. Their 2 main players that scores a lot of their goals, and they still managed to overcome that 3-goal deficit and win by 4 goals to 0 at Anfield. You just want basically thought it would have happened, but yeah, 2 fantastic fantastic games in the Champions League. This one this evening, Tottenham Ajax. They won yesterday, Liverpool and Barcelona. So as I did say, I wanted an all-English final anyway. It's better when it's an all-English final, to be quite honest with you. You're asking me as a Manchester United fan, I definitely want Tottenham, to win the final, because, I do hate Liverpool anyway. But I think overall it'd be really good for football, if actually, Tottenham, won the Champions League. As I did say, reverting back to when it was like 3 years ago, something like that. It was good for football, when Leicester City, won the Premier League title. That was really good for football, and I wanted Leicester City to win the league that season, and they did, and it was a fairy tale that came true. So I was very happy, for Leicester that season. So miracles, do happen in football, and Tottenham could win this Champions League. I don't think they will. I think Liverpool, of course, have got too much quality, and I think Liverpool, of course, are going to have too much of them. I think Naby Keita is out for a couple of months. I don't think he will be involved. I'm not too sure about Salah. Salah's been out with concussion. He should be available for the final. Firmino, of course, has been out with a muscle injury. So I think, their 2 main players, Liverpool, should be available for the final. Tottenham's Harry Kane, I think he should be available for the final. Kane has sustained quite a few injuries this season, and you do know Tottenham are not as ruthless, when Kane is not playing. But Kane, could be available for the final. Well, he'll hope to be available for the final. Will Harry Kane? Dele Alli, I think, was injured early on in the season for Tottenham. So Tottenham have had quite a few injuries this season, but as I did currently say, that's absolutely fantastic for Tottenham. This is a night, that Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, are never ever going to forget. And I don't blame them. Fair play to Tottenham, because I don't think any support of every team out there, would have expected, Tottenham, to progress to the Champions League final. No neutrals would have expected, Tottenham, to get to the Champions League final. And look at the position they were in, as I do keep saying. They were 1-0 down from the first leg. They were 2-0 down this evening, and Tottenham there have got a mountain to climb, and everyone would have thought, well, Ajax are definitely through to the Champions League final. But never count your chickens, because, people said, well, look what happened yesterday evening, between Liverpool and Barcelona. When Tottenham scored, got that goal back, I thought there was a possible chance there for Tottenham. They scored, I think, twice. Didn't they score twice in space of 4 minutes in the second half? Tottenham, obviously, through Lucas Moura. And then as soon as it got to 2-2, I thought, hold on a minute, Tottenham are going to perform a miraculous comeback. And then Ajax, started having chances chances they're on. I thought probably the next goal, if there is another goal, is going to decide who's going to the final. And then when it got to stoppage time, I thought, it's too late now for Tottenham to get a goal. Ajax are going to see this out. And then 95th minute comes stoppage time on 96, and Lucas Moura goes and puts it into the back of the net. And that's absolutely fantastic indeed. So yeah, very, very good night of football in the Champions League. But yeah, I think Liverpool are going to win it. But, Liverpool, I hate Liverpool, as I do keep saying, but analysing, what they've done this season, Liverpool have been fantastic this season, especially in the Premier League. They've only lost one game all season. They've played really, really good football. They've scored a lot of goals left, right and centre. So, me saying it in brutal honesty, I think Liverpool, do deserve something, for how well they've performed this season. I don't think they're going to win the Premier League. Well, they could win the Premier League, but basically Brighton have got to get some off Manchester City. Brighton have got to get some off Manchester City, for Liverpool to win the league. And of course, Liverpool have got to beat Wolves at Anfield. I do think Liverpool are going to beat Wolves at Anfield, even though Wolves have played really, really well this season. I think they've gained 7th spot in the league. Wolves, of course, have done really, really well against the top 6 this season. I think they've gained points off every top team of Wolves. But yeah, I think Liverpool, of course, are going to have too much for Wolves. Who to say? Liverpool aren't going to win the Premier. Liverpool could win the Premier League. They could also win the Champions League. So potentially, Liverpool could win double. But I don't see it happening. I think Manchester City are going to regain their title. This will be City's 4th Premier League title. Their second in 2 years. And and I think Liverpool are going to win the Champions League. But even if Tottenham don't win the Champions League, you've got to credit them, for getting to the Champions League final, because you just wouldn't have thought it would have happened. But congratulations to Tottenham Hotspur. Now we'll move on to something else. Give you a bit of an update on my club, Manchester United, as I've been obviously giving you an update on a regular basis. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to get the right recruitment this summer. Obviously, analysing our recruitment policy, it's very, very poor indeed. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club this summer. We are expected, to orchestrate a big summer clear. I think up to at least 5 or 6 players, could be leaving Manchester United this summer. But yeah, we've got to get the right recruitment this summer, and we do know basically it's going to be difficult for us, to get the players we want, because obviously, we're not in Champions League football for next season. As I did say, we're not in Champions League football for next season, but for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preference, he still believes we can lure players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. This is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is going to have his final say on our summer transfer plans, what players come in, what players leave. Obviously, we've got to make a decision, of course, who's going to be the captain for Manchester United, of course, and I don't think it's going to be Paul Pogba, but we are going to get a spending spree this summer of around £250 million. But as I did say, I think we could get around maybe 400 odd million, maybe nearly 500 million. If we can cash in for the likes of Pogba and Lukaku and maybe even De Gea, that's going to help us with our transition, and it's going to help us in our rebuilding process. But you can see blatantly these cultural problems at the club. Obviously, we've got to get a director of footballing as well. We do need a structural change in the club, and as I did say, that's getting a director of footballing. And as I did say, there has been quite a few candidate names mentioned, to fulfil that director's role. But as I did say, it would be ideal to recommend someone to come in, who knows about the club, of course, someone who's got the experience. Edwin van der Sar, has been mentioned. I know he's the CEO at Ajax. I think he remains happy at Ajax at the moment, but he's got the experience. Obviously, he used to be the Manchester United goalkeeper. Did Edwin van der Sar? There's been talks about him. Mike Phelan's been mentioned. Paul Mitchell, of course, has been mentioned. So there has been quite a few candidate names mentioned who could take that director's role at Manchester United. But as I did say, this summer, we've got to get the right players, that have got the ability to elevate Manchester United, of course, at least in the next 2 to 3 years. But as I did say, we've been in a bad vein of form. We've only won 2 of our last 11 games in all competitions, and the majority of the blame is on the players. Some of the blame stems from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because he's starting to get his team selections wrong now. So some of the blame, does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and some of the blame, of course, stems from Ed Woodward. And there's quite a few Manchester United fans that are demanding Ed Woodward out of the club because they think he's the main problem. Of the factor is Ed Woodward. But as I did currently say, it's just seemed to have all gone wrong, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got the job permanently. And obviously, based on our poor run of form and poor run of results, I have heard quite a few Manchester United fans, demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. In my opinion, they are a total disgrace, because, we've got to give Solskjaer, the summer, to rebuild. We've got to give him the summer to rebuild. And of course, we can't keep sacking managers. We haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers, because we've already sacked 3 managers, since Ferguson retired. We sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. And we do know a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. We do know a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United since Alex Ferguson retired. I think £600-700 million or something like that has been spent. But as I do keep saying, none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. None of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. He's still in the process of rebuilding. You can say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't got a great managerial pedigree, not to the highest level. He hasn't really got the experience of a manager, even though he did win a couple of titles with Mulder, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I'm still backing him for now, and I still think he's the right man that can elevate this club forward, of course. But yeah, it's good that he's emphasising an interest, in quite a few young players. Obviously, he wants to get, he wants to add more experience into the squad. Does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? But we need a central defender, we need a full-back, we need a couple of additions in midfield. Well, should I say, we need 3 new additions in midfield if Pogba leaves, which he's going to be leaving, I should presume. We need a right winner. I think we also need a striker, because, we're not being ruthless enough in front of goal. We're not scoring enough goals. So, yeah, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions into the club this summer. Does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because you can see the deficiencies in the squad, the areas, where we are currently lacking. But as I did currently say, as I updated you on my earlier video today, guys, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reportedly got told yesterday by Ed Woodward, to get a centre back that will be a world record transfer. That will be a world record transfer, and so he's been told to get a centre back. As I said, that will be a world record transfer. So there has been quite a few central defenders on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda and Manchester United's agenda. So there has been talks of Leicester City's Harry Maguire. Now, I really like Harry Maguire. He's a really good player. He's 26 years of age. Is Harry Maguire. He's been at Leicester. I think this is now. He's been there a couple of seasons at Leicester. Made his 100th appearance for Leicester on Monday evening against Manchester City. But he's in his mid-20s, so he's in his prime. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. But I don't think Manchester United are intending on paying a world record transfer fee for Harry Maguire. To be quite honest with you, but Manchester United were actually linked with Harry Maguire last summer, but obviously we didn't come to an agreement to get him. But Manchester United were linked with him last summer, but as I said, we didn't come to an agreement to get him. Harry Maguire signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer. I think he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer. I think it was a 5-year deal, so he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. I think Leicester paid around £17 million for him from Hull City, because he was at Hull City when he was younger. I think he had a loan spell with Wigan. I think when he was a lot younger, he began his youth career with Sheffield United, did Harry Maguire. I think he's initially valued at around £75 or £80 million is Harry Maguire. But yeah, well Premier League proven, and I think he would fit in very well in our backline with Harry Maguire. I think the most expensive defender at the moment is Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, of course, who Liverpool paid £75 million for. I think it was in January of last year, so I think it was like 15 or 16 months ago Liverpool got him. Well, he's been at Liverpool about 15-16 months now as Virgil van Dijk, and he's addressed their defensive deficiencies fantastically well. Obviously, Delay, Manchester United have been linked with Delay. He's a young player, Delay. Obviously, he's progressing up the Ajax youth system for a number of years. I think he joined Ajax's youth system at the age of 9. I think he's been in the senior squad of Ajax, quite a few years now. I think he's around 19 years of age, is Delay. But reportedly, Delay has turned the opportunity down to come to Manchester United. So I think he's rejected Manchester United as Delay, so we can't get him. Potentially, Rafael Varane, I don't think we'll be paying a world record fee for Rafael Varane. I think the only chance we would have of getting Rafael Varane if he was part of the deal for Paul Pogba. And I don't think, Real Madrid are willing to let Rafael Varane go anywhere. I am a huge fan of Rafael Varane. I do really like him, and I think he'd address our defensive deficiencies fantastically well. If he was to come in, Rafael Varane, this is Rafael Varane's 8th season at Real Madrid. He's made over I think he's made nearly 300 300 odd appearances in all competitions for Real Madrid as Rafael Varane. But yeah, I think his initial release clause is around 429 million in his current deal with Real Madrid, something like that. But even discarding a swap deal with Paul Pogba, and even even if if Real Madrid weren't demanding his release clause to be triggered, he's still going to cost you over £100 million. Is Rafael Varane, a player of his, he's an absolutely fantastic player. Is Rafael Varane. He's got a contract with Real Madrid till 2022, and he's only 25 years of age, so he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. He's won about 15, 16 major honours with Real Madrid, and I think if he was to come to the Premier League, he'd produce and deliver the same element of the performances, that he has been doing in his number of years with Real Madrid. Obviously, began his career in France when he was a lot younger with Lens, did Rafael Varane. But I don't see Manchester United getting Rafael Varane unless he's part of the deal for Paul Pogba, and I think that's the only chance Manchester United will have of getting Rafael Varane. But as I said, players of Rafael Varane's calibre, players of Koulibaly's calibre, as I said, they want to be in Champions League football, and of course Manchester United can't offer this for next season. That is the problem, to be quite honest with you. But I really, really like Koulibaly, don't get me wrong. I think Koulibaly is a really, really good player. I really, really like him. Manchester United have been long admirers of him. He's 27 years of age, nearly 28 years of age. And obviously, either way, if he is for sale, he's going to cost Manchester United a world record fee. We're going to have to pay at least 100 or 110 million pounds of Koulibaly. Manchester United had fee between turned down in January. I think we were heavily linked with him last summer, Koulibaly, but he's never played in the Premier League as Koulibaly. He's never ever played in the Premier League, and he's been in Italy now a number of years with Napoli. I think this is now his fifth season with Napoli. He's Koulibaly's. He's made over 200 odd appearances in all competitions. But we need a world-class central defender, because we haven't had one since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand. Because reflecting back in the Alex Ferguson era, Vidic and Ferdinand, were an absolutely fantastic centre-back partnership. But we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because I think Victor Lindelof's performances this season have been very, very impressive for Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, they've been very, very impressive. He struggled in his first season. He was actually inconsistent in his first season, but this season Lindelof has really, really settled in, and he has done extremely well indeed. But yeah, we've been linked to, there's quite a few central defenders on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda, but which one are we going to get in? As I did say, if a new central defender comes in, of course Eric Bailly's future is going to be in serious doubt, because Eric Bailly, of course, has found game time very, very difficult this season for Manchester United, especially since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come in. Eric Bailly has found game time extremely difficult. Eric Bailly, of course, is injured. I think he's too injury prone, is Eric Bailly. He's been here over 3 years now at Manchester United. Manchester United paid around £30 million for him from Villarreal, but I can see him, possibly leaving in the summer. And you've got the likes of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones, not good enough to represent Manchester United. This is Chris Smalling's 9th season at the club. This is Jones's 8th season at the club, and combining Jones and Chris Smalling, I think Jones is better. Chris Smalling is better than Phil Jones, but I still think they both need to go in the summer. And it was a bad mistake for Manchester United giving Smalling a new long-term contract, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract. So yeah, it's plainly obvious. We need a central defender that can go alongside Victor Lindelof. But reflecting back in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months when he was the interim manager, we were playing really, really well. We were scoring goals. We were being ruthless in front of goal. We were defending really, really well in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. As I said, it just seems to have all gone wrong since he's got the job permanently. And obviously, it's a 3-year deal. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer obviously has got to exceed expectation levels in this 3 years. And that's why we've got to be ruthless in the summer transfer window, and that is very, very essential indeed. But in his 3 months, he exceeded expectations fantastically well, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I'm still backing him. I won't be. If it goes wrong next season and we start really, really bad in the new season, that's when I'll start criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and that's when I will currently do it. Manchester United need a right back without a shadow of a doubt, because we know Antonio Valencia is leaving the club in the summer when his contract expires. Because obviously, Manchester United opted against a decision, to give Valencia that new 1-year extension. So yeah, I think Valencia is definitely. Definitely Valencia is leaving this summer. But we did have the option to extend his contract, but obviously, Manchester United, just decided not to. Obviously, he's aging up now. He's 33 years of age now. Antonio Valencia. He's been a good servant to the club. Don't get me wrong. It's his 10th season at United. He's made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions for Manchester United as Antonio Valencia. But yeah, as I did say, we're going to need a replacement for him, and maybe maybe we should give Antonio Valencia a farewell appearance. Maybe we should give him a farewell appearance, for the last game against Cardiff. Maybe give him the chance. I think he's initially been out with a calf injury. He's been out for the majority of the season with a calf injury. Reports came out the other week saying that he has returned back to training, Antonio Valencia. He's won everything here domestically. He won the St. Busby Player of the Year award back in 2012, of course, when he was a lot younger, Antonio Valencia. But he's been here a decade, so obviously we're going to need a replacement for Antonio Valencia, but we definitely need a full-back in there. Ashley Young, as I said, he's got to be dropped for the Cardiff game. I think the likes of Phil Jones and Ashley Young have definitely got to be dropped for the Cardiff game. It was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving Ashley Young that new one-year extension. Ashley Young's been here about, 8 years now at Manchester United. He's made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. And, reflecting back when he was younger, Ashley Young, don't get me wrong, he was a really, really good player, when he was young, Ashley Young. He was a really, really good winner. But we do know now he's nearly 34 years of age. He's past his sell-by date. And Manchester United have got to get him out in the summer. So I think we need an upgrade to Ashley Young. We need an upgrade to Ashley Young. And we need a replacement for Valencia. And I know we've got Diego Dalot there, but Diego Dalot's only 19, 20 years of age. He's still in the process of developing his Diego Dalot. Man United got him last summer for around 19 million from Porto, was it? But yeah, I still believe we need a cover-up for Diego Dalot. Going into the midfield, we need about 3 new additions in that midfield. Without a shadow of a doubt, we need 3 new additions in that midfield. And as I did say, we're going to need a replacement for Paul Pogba. We're going to need a replacement for Ander Herrera. And, I think the right replacement for Paul Pogba, would have been Sporting Lisbon's Bruno Fernandes. But we're missing out now on Bruno Fernandes, which is very, very disappointing indeed, because you do know I love Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a really, really good player. I think he's actually a Galactico player, Bruno Fernandes, because he's proven it this season with Sporting Lisbon. He's been absolutely fantastic. He scored, I think, 30 odd goals this season. He's provided about 16, 17 assists as Bruno Fernandes. And obviously, we need creativeness in that midfield, and we need someone that can pose a goal threat, and we need someone that can score goals from that midfield, and Bruno Fernandes can do that. And Manchester United have been heavily linked to him, because Manchester United have been in negotiations with his representatives over the summer transfer, because these reports were stemming out from Portugal, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer demanded Manchester United to sign Bruno Fernandes for around £85 million, because I think his release clause is around £86 million. But it's disappointing now, because as we all do know, City are on the verge of finalising a deal for Bruno Fernandes, because Manchester City have been in talks with Sporting Lisbon over around, I think it says around a £47 million deal. So I think it's a deal worth around £47 million. I think City are going to get him for around £47 million. So City don't have to basically trigger his release clause, because I think City are going to get him for around £47 million, because City, I think, are willing to offer 1 or 2 of their players as part of the deal. So City can, I think it's basically a players plus cash deal. City willing to offer 47 million, and City willing to offer 1 or 2 of their players as part of the deal. But as I did say, a player of Bruno Fernandes' calibre, probably wants to play into the highest level, and all that, and wants to be up there competing, and Manchester United are at least a couple of years off doing that. So obviously, for Bruno Fernandes, Manchester City is a much attractive option for him. So I think this could be revealed in the next week or 2 or something like that. He's going to be officially a Manchester City player. Is Bruno Fernandes, and he's had a lot of experience of playing in Italy. Because he played for San Pandoro when he was younger. He played for Udinese when he was younger, so he had a lot of experience, as I just said, of playing in Italy. Did Bruno Fernandes, but he's 24 years of age. He still has got a lot of years ahead of him. But Man City are going to see him as a replacement for Fernandinho. Fernandinho is actually primarily a defensive midfielder, and actually, Bruno Fernandes is predominantly an attacking midfielder. But yeah, we've missed out on Bruno Fernandes, which is very, very disappointing. But talking about Paul Pogba, I think definitely, Paul Pogba is going. He did actually say the other week in the media, the reports were coming out from Spain saying that Paul Pogba had agreed the wages. Had agreed the personal terms. It also said Pogba had agreed the wages. I think it said he'd agreed a $10 million a year deal with Real Madrid. The reports were coming out saying that Real Madrid were reportedly not willing to meet his £290,000 a week wage demands, reportedly. Well, he's on £290,000 a week in his contract, in his deal with Manchester United at the moment, but it did say Real Madrid were not willing to match that. So it did basically say that Paul Pogba would have to take a pay cut, to make the move to Real Madrid. Now reports are coming out saying Man United want around £160 million for Paul Pogba. Real Madrid, of course, are reluctant, to pay £160 million for Paul Pogba because obviously, Real Madrid can't afford to pay that. So it did basically say Man United were demanding a couple of Real Madrid's players in exchange for Paul Pogba. As you all know, the names got mentioned. Rafael Varane got mentioned, and Toni Kroos got mentioned. But as I did say, Paul Pogba's still, definitely, one of the best midfielders in the world. When he's playing in the right vein, when he's playing in the right manner. He's still got over 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United. I think, he's still got over 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United as Paul Pogba. Well, 3 years on his contract, should I say, because he's got over 2 years with an option of a further year as well. But yeah, Manchester United paid £89 million for Paul Pogba. But I think at Manchester United, he's just not playing amongst world-class players, and I think this is what Paul Pogba wants. And Paul Pogba's 26 years of age, he's in his prime. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, Paul Pogba was heavily linked to a move away from Manchester United last year, because obviously, this was based on his poor relationship Paul Pogba had with Jose Mourinho, and obviously then Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho departed the club. But he's a World Cup winner, is Paul Pogba. And since he's been here since 2016 at Manchester United, he's won the Europa League with us. He's won the League Cup with us as Paul Pogba. And but he was linked with Juventus last year, his former club. He was linked with Barcelona last year. And and I've, at least in the last couple of weeks, Paul Pogba's agent Mariola has been in the process of finding him a new club. But I think it came out a while back saying that Man United were willing to offer him the captain's armband on a permanent basis, to try and convince him to stay at the club. But Zinedine Zidane's a big admirer of the player. It's Zinedine Zidane's obviously, it's one of Zinedine Zidane's main priority targets for this summer. Obviously, Chelsea's Eden Hazard, of course, is one of Zinedine Zidane's main priority targets as well. So Zinedine Zidane's identified two of his main targets, and that's Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. As I actually give you an update on my previous video of what was going on with Eden Hazard. But we're going to need a replacement for Paul Pogba, and I think if we can get at least 120, 130 million pounds for him, we could get two players for that money. I think it will help us with our transition. And as I said, we're going to need a replacement for Fernando Herrera, of course. So that's very, very essential. Matic for me isn't good enough. Not reliable enough. Got strong reservations about him. Too slow now. Has, proven himself in a couple of games, and he's well Premier League proven. Don't get me wrong, he's the Nemanja Matic. He did okay at Chelsea. He won the title with Chelsea and all that. But I think he struggled as a Manchester United player. In some of his games, he has stepped up to the plate, but he's too slow. He's aging up, and I think we need a centre defensive midfielder that's fast and tenacious. So there has been quite a few midfielders, of course, that Manchester United have been linked with. As I said, Bruno Fernandes is out of the window now. Joe Felix, of course, has been a lot of talks about him. It's now saying that Manchester City, of course, are going in for Joe Felix. It says Manchester City, of course, are going in for Joe Felix. I like Joe Felix. I'd really, really like Joe Felix. He's a really, really good player. Only 19 years of age. Still got a lot of years ahead of him. But City are on the brink of finalising a deal for Bruno Fernandes. They're also in for Joe Felix. And Manchester United have been heavily linked to him. We've been scouting him at least in the last couple of months. Reflecting on Joe Felix's impressive performances this season for Benfica. I think it's only Joe Felix's first season in the senior squad with Benfica. But as I said, only 19 years of age. I don't think he's yet made his senior debut for Portugal. I think Joe Felix has got a buyout clause of around £100 million. I think he's predominantly an attacking midfielder. Is Joe Felix, if I'm right? Yes, he is. But I think he can play in the wing. He can also play as a striker. But I think Manchester City are interested. I think Liverpool have been linked with him in the past, Joe Felix. So yeah, there's been a lot of talks about him, and I think he'd do very, very well if he was to come to Manchester United. I think he'd fit in the mix very, very well. He's a player that can score goals, he can provide, and he can play he's versatile, he can play in other positions. So, he's been spoken about in the media. And other midfielders, we still know there's been a lot of talks about West Ham's Declan Rice. We do know he's been mentioned in the media, and I really, really like Declan Rice. I think he's primarily a defensive midfielder. He's only 20 years of age. He's one of England's youngest upcoming talents. Is Declan Rice, and there's been a lot of talks about him. Could be available for around 40-50 million pounds this summer. Called Declan Rice. I really like him. He can break up the play. He's an energetic midfielder. Is Declan Rice. He's been in the West Ham scene. He's got quite a few years, but his performances this season under Manuel Pellegrini have been absolutely fantastic indeed. Declan Rice is, and I think he's got a contract with West Ham until 2024, and I think he signed this new long-term contract in December of last year. So there has been talks about Declan Rice, one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets, of course, 20 years of age, very young, British as well, and Solskjaer showed an interest in quite a few British players, but I think he'd blend in very well if he was to come into Manchester United as well. He's learnt his trade in the Premier League as Declan Rice. Initially was a Chelsea player when he was a lot younger, joined Chelsea's youth system at the age of 7, and he was in Chelsea's youth academy a number of years, and I think he got axed off at the age of 14, and he's been at West Ham now a number of years, as I said, and he's been in the senior squad a number of years as Declan Rice. So he's been another potential Manchester United target, and there's been quite a few midfielders mentioned. Quite a few weeks back there was talks about Atletico Madrid's Solo Niguez, but yeah, I think we need about 3 new additions in that midfield. As I did say as well, we do know the club's #1 priority target, and that's obviously Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, and I really like Jadon Sancho, and I think if he was to make a return to the Premier League, it would create a better platform for Jadon Sancho, because he's obviously had experience of playing in the Premier League. He's obviously a former Manchester City player where he did serve a couple of years, but he never got into the first team with Man City, and this is why basically he left City and went to Borussia Dortmund. But he's been fantastic in his couple of years with Borussia Dortmund. As I did say, I'd love Manchester United to get a player of his quality. We do know he's going to cost us around at least £100 million, is Jadon Sancho, but I think he'd blend in very well in our attacking line. If he was to come in, he can score goals, he can provide, he can play between the byline. Absolutely fantastic indeed, and he's under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022 is Jadon Sancho. But Manchester United, of course, as you all know, have been linked with him for a very long time. But yeah, I think he's the club's #1 priority target. As they currently say, reports were coming out. Well, there was reports coming out of the media it's been going on for a couple of days now, saying that Manchester United have been interested in Juventus's Paulo Dybala. Paulo Dybala, as I did say, he's enjoyed a difficult season this season with Juventus as Paulo Dybala, because obviously since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo, last summer, Paulo Dybala has been in and out of the squad this season with Juventus. Paulo Dybala, I think, has been at Juventus a number of years now. This is like 4th or 5th season with Juventus. Some Manchester United fans, would like to see him coming. Maybe some wouldn't want to see him coming. I think it did say from the Italian press, Manchester United have been in talks with Juventus over a potential move for Paulo Dybala, and I think the reported fee was around £85 million. So yeah, there's been talks about that. I think he got spotted in London yesterday, was it, or the day before? Did Paulo Dybala? So yeah, there has been talks about him. But as I did say, if we were to get Paulo Dybala on the board, we would actually see him as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because obviously I think Lukaku is going to be going this summer. He's considering quitting Manchester United. Is Romelu Lukaku, because Lukaku has enjoyed a very difficult season with Manchester United. This is his second season at United, but it's been a difficult one for Lukaku. He's sustained a couple of injuries this season. I think he's out at the moment with a hamstring injury, Romelu Lukaku. But don't get me wrong, his pedigree is good in the Premier League. He's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. But for me, he hasn't got the capabilities, to play to the highest level. When it comes to him playing the big teams, he's a big game battler. His first touch really concerns me. Manchester United paid £75 million for him, plus £15 million add-ons, which had risen the deal to £90 million. He's still got 3 years left on his contract as Lukaku. He's on about £250,000 a week. But I think he's attracting interest from the Serie A. Obviously, Juventus are interested. Inter Milan have been interested. AC Milan have been interested. But I think from Lukaku's preference, he would prefer the move to Juventus. And there was talks about Paulo Dybala and Lukaku as a potential swap deal, a while back, and it did say there could be a players plus cash deal involved. Man United willing to offer money for Dybala plus Lukaku, as well. So there was talks about that. But as I said, we'll try and recoup the initial £75 million we paid for Lukaku a couple of seasons ago from Everton. But yeah, I can see Lukaku leaving. But it was good in his first season. He scored 27 goals in all competitions in his first season for United. But we need a striker striker. We need someone that can put the ball in the back of the net, and Lukaku can do that. But as I did say when we first signed Romelu Lukaku, I know we know we had reservations about him, but as long as he's putting the ball in the back of the net, that's the most essential thing. Whilst he's adapting other areas of his game, but yeah, far too slow for me. I know he's 25, he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Lukaku's same age as Paul Dybala. I thought Dybala was 26. Sorry, he's 25. He's Paulo Dybala. And the likes of Rashford and Anthony Martial are just not reliable enough. They're just not reliable enough. They're still in the process of developing. Rashford is only 21. Martial's 23. They're not reliable enough. To deliver us them goals that we do need. So I do think we need a striker. As I said, of Alexis Sanchez, I think definitely Alexis Sanchez is on his way out of the club. I think Man United are willing to pay half of Alexis Sanchez's wages off. To get him out of the club because there won't be many teams out there, of course, that can afford to pay Alexis Sanchez's wages off. As I did say, though, I thought when we got Sanchez 15, 16 months ago, he would have been a fundamental player for us, reflecting what he did at Arsenal. He did really, really well at Arsenal. And obviously, when he was younger, Sanchez, he played under Pep Guardiola. At the time, he had the chance to join Manchester City, but obviously, he chose Manchester United, did Alexis Sanchez. And I thought he was going to be a fundamental player, but it just hasn't happened. He's been a flop for Manchester United, and as I said, he's been here about 15, 16 months now. He's sustained quite a few injuries when he's had the opportunity, which hasn't been often. He's been so inconsistent. And that's not good enough for a player. That's the highest paid player at the club, the highest paid player in the Premier League. So I think we've got to get rid of him in the summer. And as I did say, we are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out, and Anthony Martial, could be added onto that list with them potential players that could be leaving. And Anthony Martial, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has basically, Anthony Martial has reportedly infuriated Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is becoming very, very frustrated with Anthony Martial. Obviously, Solskjaer is reflecting on Anthony Martial's bad attitude in training, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to get rid of him in the summer. But Anthony Martial was linked with a move away from Manchester United last year, was it? When Jose Mourinho, of course, was in charge. Jose Mourinho wanted to sanction him off, but of course, Ed Woodward had blocked the move, so it didn't materialise, and Martial, stayed at Manchester United. And Martial, in the last couple of months, his performances have been way below par. I still believe he's a long-term solution, so I don't think we should get rid of him this summer. And if we do, it's actually a bad judgment for Manchester United if we get rid of Martial, because I know his performances have been way below par in the last couple of months. This is my own opinion, but I know it's a short-term problem, but I still believe he's a long-term solution. And Martial hasn't been playing him in the last couple of games. He wasn't even named in the squad against Huddersfield, didn't play him against Chelsea. But as I did say, he signed a new 5-year contract with Manchester United. I think it was back in January. Manchester United got Martial as a 19-year-old. We got him from Monaco in a deal worth around 36 million, rising up to 57 or 58 million, based on goals and achievements. But he was really, when we got him as a 19-year-old, he was really, really good, Martial, in his first season at the club. But his performances in the last couple of months have been way below par. But he was actually in good form earlier on in the season, was Martial. But he has failed to replicate that. In the last couple of months at least. So for me, I think we should still keep Martial, to be quite honest, because mainly he's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice, but most recently, he's preferred the likes of Lukaku and Marcus Rashford. And I think Darmian's on his way out of the club. He's another player that's on his way out with the club. And I think we can cash in for Darmian, because I think Manchester United have triggered that extension. So we can cash in for him this summer if we can get rid of him, Matteo Darmian. He's enjoyed a very, very difficult time here at Manchester United. I still believe we can cash in for the likes of Darmian. We can cash in for Rojo, and we could get around £30 million there. So we are going to get a summer clear out, as you all know. And nothing much really more to say, to be quite honest with you. But reflecting back to what I said earlier on the video, the main part of this video is in relation to what's happened this evening, between Ajax and Tottenham. Tottenham making history in Amsterdam, which is very, very good for Tottenham. Coming back, from 2-0 down this evening. Obviously, Tottenham were initially 1-0 down from the first leg. And, when Ajax went 2-0 up, as I said, you thought Tottenham would have been dead and buried. You'd have thought Tottenham haven't got the capabilities, to overcome this 2-goal deficit on the night, a 3-goal deficit overall on aggregate. And they've done it of Tottenham Hotspur, and, fair play to them. The first English Champions League final since 2008. But yeah, fair play to Tottenham Hotspur. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing to the channel, as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon, guys.